Rising Stars is sponsored by Kikkoman.
So pasta bar sounds like a fast casual pasta place. Is that what it is, or is the name
Not quite.
confusing to me?
Not quite. So Scratch Bar is our first restaurant.
Uh-huh.
Then we opened a restaurant called Sushi Bar. We have since put that under the umbrella of Sushi By Scratch restaurants, as we learned that Sushi Bar is not a protectable name. It's too generic. Every sushi, there's no sushi restaurants, they're all sushi bars.
Right.
And so because we had Scratch Bar, Sushi Bar, we wanted to do it, and we do tasting menu only at all our restaurants. And you sit at the bar, we wanted to do pasta, hence Pasta Bar.
But we opened like 2 months into the pandemic to provide jobs for our team, because we were on hiatus for those 2 months, and I can't, getting a Michelin star just definitely kind of validated, I feel like, everything we were working towards, and it was such an honor.
So when you're talking about bar, you're talking about sort of the new, within the past 10 years, tasting menu concept where everybody sits around in a circle at a bar and gets their food. So we have that with Mini Bar by Jose Andres, Catbird Seed in Nashville, and you're working in the same sort of vein.
Yeah, so we opened our first restaurant 10 years ago, and the reason we called it Scratch Bar was we knew we couldn't come up with a name, but we did know that there was 2 founding principles. 1, we wouldn't serve anything we don't make from scratch, and 2, we're serving everyone sitting in front of us at the bar. We've designed these very small, very intimate, but also very logistically sound concepts. And so it's a small team. It's all about quality, not quantity. And
the experience.
100%, the quality of the experience. But really it's, we could pop out 100 of these a year. We can't, that's crazy. But it really is talent dependent. So what we end up doing is we collect a bunch of talents, and then we get ready and we advance until we exhaust our talent. Not physically, but you know what I mean? Maybe physically as well. But as soon as, right? And then we gather more talent, which we're in that process right now. We're done expanding until the beginning of 2023. We already have Montreal set up. We already have, a couple of other locations that are leases signed, in the works. And right now we're basically recruiting, training, because what we can't allow happen, like when we opened in Seattle, a lot of the guests were like, wait, this is your first day, your second, it feels like you've been here for years. And our response is, we just haven't been in this room for years. But it's very important to us. I feel like the minute that you start charging people money, you must deliver at the same level as if you're charging them 5 years from now for money. And so for us, the way that we found that success is dramatically overstaffing, which is really bad for the company, but then, very rapidly expanding. And it looks like a crazy rapid expansion, but it's actually not. It's actually very calculated. And it's actually, we have all of these things working. So it's like, we have a team, in here, and we take one person, we send them all, we hire 2 or 3 local guys or girls. And then we have a solid team led by someone who's, has this indoctrinated into them, so to speak, in a positive way.
So Montreal, what are you opening in Montreal?
Because it takes the same amount of work to do quality as it does to not do quality. It just means you have to care about the quality, and you have to put your priorities in the right space. So we've decided we want to become the restaurant with the most locations that has the most Michelin stars in the history of the world. And so I guess you could say we're, turning into a chain, but we're doing it in a very organic and non-corporate way. You're looking at the corporation, us and our daughter. We have no investors. We have no shareholders. We own 100% of the company, and it started in our 1-bedroom apartment in Hollywood 10 years ago.
Why is a sushi bar easier to replicate than a pasta bar? Pasta seems operationally more simple to me.
So sushi does not need a hood. Therefore, it does not need a grease trap. It does not need 10 pots and Pasta Bar, by the way, is a 13-course tasting menu. It's, truffles over it. It's got, we're hand making all the pastas in front of you. You have all of this, there's a lot of stuff you have to cook to. With sushi, and it may sound blasphemous, but it's an easier product. Slice the fish, form the nigiri, garnish.
And then with the desserts, since that's my department, I have a whole team out of LA that produces the desserts for all the locations. And it's a frozen ice cream bonbon, so it's easy to ship. And so I don't need a pastry chef at every location making the desserts, which is great. And I can just have a centralized, kitchen where I can maintain the quality of the product that I want.
And, with sushi, we've got 16 courses, but it's, 16 different fish. So it's fish fabrication, of course. It's making rice, and then it's garnishes. Where with pasta, it's 13 to 15 different courses, and every course has 6 different components. And the amount of, it's a more difficult restaurant to operate, we've found. So scratch restaurants, right? That's what we call ourselves. And the idea is we don't serve what we don't make. So for a while we had at Scratch Bar, we had this little micro, for dessert, Margarita made a
little mini
ice cream cone with rainbow sprinkles, 9 different colors. We don't use food coloring. She had to make all the food coloring from scratch. If we're serving prosciutto, which we do, we have to buy a pig, break it down ourselves, and cure the ham for 3 months or for 3 years.
And our sourdough starter is about 57 years old at this point. And we actually
didn't start it.
I did not start it. We actually acquired him about 10 years ago when we had our pop-up for Scratch Bar. And I've been keeping him alive, and that's the sourdough, the starter we use for our sourdough. So
your sourdough starter is male. Interesting.
Identifies as such.
Are like, oh yeah, sushi, fresh seafood. We're going to a different country with it. No problem. Haven't you heard that there are supply chain challenges, and you're shipping frozen product across the continent and also procuring super high quality seafood? How do you do that?
So I will say this. I have not in the last 2 years run into supply chain issues. I have not run into them in 4 different states. Maybe I'm buying at a certain, I'm not buying commodities. So maybe Tyson and things, I'm making it up, but maybe the thing that is a heavy duty consumer product is running into problems. We do import the most expensive fish that you can into the States.